it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, and I'm here to do our week 4, I believe, for the using Pink Paisley Fancy Free by Paige Evans. This is the photo I am using. They are of my little guy when he was just a little, I think he's a year, well, his hair's cut, so he's probably not even a year old yet. And he had learned that he could shut the door into his room and then open it, and mommy and daddy would say peekaboo, and he just thought it was hilarious. So I just wanted to document this story because it's just so fun and playful. Pattern papers we're using this week are, these 3 are the for sure, like these are the 3 that Katty picked for us. So this pretty floral. This is the piece of pattern paper that caused an issue with her line. Poor Paige. So this is very inspired by Britt Bass, and so we're going to be using this piece as well. And then finally we have this one as well that reminds me of tire tracks, but I don't know what else to say. I guess they're just painted lines, but they remind me of tire tracks. But what I love about it is the color, the tone is almost the same color as the way my photos turned out because of the lighting in our home. We got to have a 4th choice for our, because the line is so busy, we pick 3 and then we get a 4th choice that we'd like. So I've decided to pull in the cut apart. And for the challenge this week, we are challenging each other to pick between 2 of the other person's layouts, and we pick them. So I picked the 2 for Katty to choose from, and Katty's picked the 2 for me to choose from. So she has chosen the one that's this one right here. And it says, "Here Comes Trouble," and it's of her 2 little boys in a car. It's really cute. Lots of mixed media, lots of fun. And the second choice she gave me was the one about their first flight, and it's called "In the Air." Really neat, double border there, some banners. I'm not exactly sure which one I'm going to use yet. I haven't quite figured it out, but that's what I'm going with, and I'm excited to get started. So I'll get you on fast forward.
Hey everyone, so the first part of this is going to jump by and going to be about 2.5 minutes of my first idea on how to do this layout. So we are scrap lifting from each other, and I picked the layout that Katty had done about her boys on their first flight. It was a 1 photo, so that's how I came with using the 2 photos of my little guy. And then it had some doilies and a lot of really neat stuff in the middle of the layout. So that's what I'm working towards, but using, of course, the collection by Paige Evans. My first idea was that I had these cute photos of my little guy playing peekaboo, and I wanted to take the cut apart and use it as my matting and layering with all the different colors to help make my photo stand out. So I'm doing that. I'm really loving the way that looks, pretty pleased with it. Then I have the bright idea of doing some mixed media, and that is where it all went wrong. So I cut out a huge majority of this because, like I said, this isn't going to be my finished layout. So I just wanted to show you the process anyways, because sometimes it doesn't work out. So I have the layering. I wanted to show you what it looks like because that stays. I then did mixed media with the packaging technique. Not too bad. I probably could have kept it. I'm finding what the issue is that I used red. Now, I don't know why I keep doing this because I always have the mistake, but when I use, it's a pinky red, like almost like a coral. I don't like it as the smush technique, the packaging technique, but I still keep trying it, and I need to stop because I don't ever end up liking what it did. So I kind of give myself a moment. I'm going to do my layers on and how I want to kind of like decorate my layout. And this I kept in as well because it stays with my original, like the way that the end results of my layout turn out. This stays the same. I really like the way that I had placed the title Happy Life. I thought that was really neat, and using all of that. You can see I did some more mixed media with, I used the bottle cap to just make some lines. And then I'm also going to do some stitching. So what I'm going to do now is come back live. You're going to see the finished first take of my layout, and then we'll get into the actual process of my layout. So I hope you enjoyed this little sneak into my oopsies of my take 1 of this layout.
Hello, please excuse the noise and everything. I just want to show you where I'm at right now. this is my layout. It would be considered just about completed, but I hate it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it. I don't know. I'm going to rip it apart, take off this. I really like this. I like this cluster right here, and I like the collection of the floral, sorry, the buttons. I even like the idea of the stitching. That's pretty neat, but other than that, I'm kind of really hating it. So I'm going to take it apart and try again. This happens, and I am not one to be like, well, at least it's made, so let's put it in my book. I'm just personally not like that. If I don't really love it, or at least like it enough, I redo it. So this is an example where I was trying to do some mixed media. I don't own gesso or anything, so it didn't actually turn out very well. So I'm going to get myself back to square one. And depending on how long it takes me to refilm it, I'll either combine it or I'll just show you my finished layout and we'll go from there. But just show you that we all do this, right? We all make a layout that doesn't always turn out exactly the way we want, and we can tweak them to make them how we want, so don't ever be afraid. To me, it's more of a creative and fun thing than it is like, oh, I've just wasted all this time. I don't feel like I wasted time because I got this part really neat, and I know not to do this type of layout again. So I'm going to get you back on fast forward, or I'll show you my finished layout.
Okay, so now I'm going to take apart my layout here, and this is only going to take me a couple of minutes. I'm just showing you the main part. So I want to keep the main part focused on my layout about the photo and the placement of the embellishments. I want that all to be the same. So I'm just taking it off carefully. I want to try to reuse the paper as much as possible because in Katty's original layout, she had a double border, and I really want to highlight that with that awesome herringbone pattern with that you see right there. So I take all my pieces apart. I'm going to de-thread all of that stitching I did. And let me tell you, that stitching on its own took me about, 45 minutes. It's not like it's a quick thing. So I was a little heartbroken that I had to undo it. But the string is saved and I can use it another day. So it's not a big deal there. And I'm just showing you that because I don't use tons and tons and tons of tape, this is where it saves me, is in situations like this where I have to undo something. So I just cut a slit, and then I'm just going to cut out this part of mixed media that I'm just not loving here. And I'm going to be able to salvage at least the background part to use for my finished layout, and I'm just going to simply, you'll see in just a minute, use the finished, like a brand new piece of white pattern paper, and I'm going to put it over top of that I have now, and see, it's like it's brand new. So I did a little bit of stitching, liking that. I also kept, because there were holes in the background paper to begin with from the original one, instead of doing the crisscross backstitch, I just backstitched around it in a straight line. It's really neat. I really like the way that turned out as well. It just adds a little extra dimension to the whole layout, and everything else just gets placed on there like normal. So what I decided to do is, because I'm not going to do mixed media for that texture and background, I'm just going to add some more layers. So I pulled out the other pieces from the cut apart sheet pattern paper that I chose to use. I cut out the words "Why Hello There," and that was a 3x4 card. I cut them out, fussy cut it. I used that as like a second part of my title. I really like the way that turned out. And then the other 4x6 photo little cards, I used one for a vertical design to help just make the cluster a little bit bigger, and the other one I cut on the diagonal and used it as corners. So I was really liking that. I then, because in Katty's layout, again, she had 3 clusters of sequins, or I believe they were enamel dots. Believe it or not, I don't own any enamel dots. So I used the little bit that I had in my stash. I had made my own enamel dots, and then I had a few really old things and some sequins, and decided that for me that works. So I added those in 3 spots, and then I added some washi because she did have washi in her layout, and I really wanted to mimic those elements because of the fact that where I've placed my photo and stuff is not right in the middle of the layout like hers is. And so I kind of wanted to mimic other parts of her layout to help represent the scrap lift. And to me, it works. Like the whole point of Scrapless isn't to literally make it look exactly like the person you're scrap lifting, but it's to take the idea, use it, and create something of your own. And that's what I really did with this layout, and I love the way it turned out. So I also took a piece of one of the tags, and it has the same floral pattern that is part of the pattern paper that we chose for this week. You can't really see that floral that I use very much that I highlighted when I did my main cluster of layering. So I thought that would be a nice texture to use and bring in that floral in other parts of my layout. And again, because I have a boy, using floral is kind of tricky sometimes, but I think that this little bit here and there really helped me be able to incorporate it without being like, Mommy, why do you have floral on my layout? So I think I had a pretty good balance there doing that. And now I'm just going to do kind of my final things here. I am kind of playing around with some of the puffy stickers, and I add a couple of the X's onto that vellum, that washi tape heart. I'm kind of playing with where I want it to go right now, but it is going to end up on that washi tape heart. I did my journaling right underneath my photos in a teal, talking about how much my little guy loves to do peekaboo, and he just thought it was hilarious, and he would laugh all the time. He'd close that door, open it, and me and Sean would be there, and we'd go boo or peekaboo, and he would laugh and laugh and laugh, slam the door, and do it again. He just would do it nonstop. It was really fun and a very exciting and happy memory. So I was excited to document that. And so this layout kind of has 3 different titles, right? So it says Peekaboo in the Small Little Alpha. I have Happy Life because it is happy, and I don't know, I'm so excited that I have a boy, and I'm loving where we're at with our family, so it's just fun to document this stuff. And then that Why Hello There I thought was fitting because he's playing peekaboo, and it just kind of fit for me. My final touches are just little bits and pieces tucked here and there to make some added color and stuff to the layout. I'm going to add this little tab here, and that's going to wrap it up. So thanks.